All right, so here we go. I have most of your grades up on Sapphire, but I'll send back the responses once everybody's finished. So number one, what was the name of our first form of government in the U.S.? Madden? A of C, yep, Articles of Confederation. Two, what was the main problem with the Articles of Confederation? Chase? Weak central government. Yep, good job. Weak central government. When did the delegates to the Constitutional Convention meet? Terrence? 1787. Good. How many states sent delegates to the convention? Brock? 12. Yep. Who was missing? Rhode Island. Men like George Washington, Ben Franklin, and Alexander Hamilton were from this political party. Lex? The Federalists. Good. Men like Thomas Jefferson and Patrick Henry were from this political party. Jamie?
Talking about George Washington.
Nope. Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry.
Oh,
Anti-Federalist. Who was the oldest delegate, 81 years old at the Constitutional Convention? Mandy? Ben Franklin. Who was picked to be president in charge of the meeting of delegates? Sarah? George Washington. Who the following was present for the Constitution? Nathaniel? Who was there? Nope. Sarah? James Madison, the father of the Constitution. Shays' Rebellion was started because of the Massachusetts government attempted to take away factories from the people. Camden. Yeah, why did it start? Rebellion over what? Taxes. There you go. Factories. What? What were they making? Cars? Federalists were those who opposed ratification of the Constitution. Chase. Yep, they wanted it. They wanted a strong central government. Pennsylvania was the first state to ratify the Constitution. Angel? False. Who was it? Delaware. Yep. Oh, I'm in Delaware. New Jersey was the last state to ratify the Constitution in 1790. Tara? False. Who was it? Yeah, they didn't really have a choice. Like, you're doing it. At the time of ratification, there was not yet a Bill of Rights. Brock? There was not yet a Bill of Rights. Let me read that. It's a little confusing. At the time of ratification, there's not yet a Bill of Rights. That's true, because there wasn't a Bill of Rights yet. There's no Bill of Rights yet, the start of the Constitution. It is worded a little weird. Constitution. Bill of Rights wasn't yet placed into it. Remember I was saying, oh, why do the founding fathers want to put the Bill of Rights in? Then we have to label every single right that's given to the people. All right. Who was considered the father of the Constitution? I said it earlier. Lex? James Madison. Daniel Shays was from this northern state. Chase? Massachusetts. Group of individual state governments that band together for a common purpose. Maiden? You follow along here? All right. Confederation. So it sent you an email with your responses. Is that what it did?
Yeah, those are
Weird. Yeah, I don't want that to happen anymore. Candy, do you get a response? Because I changed it halfway through. It's like, I can't allow this test getting out. Okay. Direct democracy and majority rules are attributes from this colonial influence. Some people said the Magna Carta. Terrence? Nope. Mayflower Compact. Compact. Oh my gosh, I did spell it wrong. Are you kidding? Oh, oh, give the points back. I gotta change that. You gotta be kidding. Oh, I'll get that then. No, because these don't make sense. Well, the House of Burgesses kind of do, but the branch of government that makes the laws. What the? Branch of government makes the laws. Sarah? Legislative, good. Branch of government decides if laws are constitutional. Brock? Judicial. Branch of government includes Congress. Terrence? Legislative. The branch of government includes the president. Camden? Executive. Branch of government enforces the law. Chase? Executive. Branch of government includes the Supreme Court. Sarah? Judicial. All right, an agreement. Count 3/5 of state slaves and appropriate representatives. So that is the 3/5 compromise. Says it right in a description. Had some people get it wrong. Also known as the Great Compromise of 1787, the Connecticut Compromise. A plan suggested that each state have equal representation. New Jersey plan. Plan that suggests that representation should be based off the population. Virginia plan. Devised of the New Jersey plan. Who was it? Madden? William Patterson. Devised of the Virginia plan. Sarah? James Madison. Created the Great Compromise. Terrence? Roger Sherman. Rebellious leader that challenged the state of Massachusetts. Flex? Daniel Shea. Oh, some more Enlightenment thinkers this time. Believe that people were born greedy, selfish, needed an autocratic government. Brock? Thomas Hobbes. Believed in the social contract theory. Chase?
Oh, I'm gonna guess John Locke.
No.
I have no clue.
Rue social contract. Remember I said that? Easy way to remember it. Rue social contract. Believe that government needed separation of power. Gannon? Remember I broke it up into 3 syllables. Montesquieu, 3. Yep, there you go. Believe in separation of church and state. Madden? Voltaire. Remember? Did I show you this one? No? The V in Voltaire. Church, state, separate it. Get it? Oh, knee stopper there. Look at that one. That one. Okay. All right. Believe that people were born with natural rights, life, liberty, and property. Liberties here. Nathaniel. John Locke. Yeah. Locking in those rights. Let's describe 6 main problems of the Articles of Confederation. Give me one of them. Sarah? No judicial branch. Good job. So you'll have to describe it too. So part of the question says describe. So if you just listed them, cool, but you didn't receive full credit because you had to describe them. You had to describe how that was a weakness, how that was a problem. Okay. So no national court, no Supreme Court, right? There's a lot of issues amongst the states then that needed to be solved. All right, what's another one? Madam? Interstate commerce, right? So that was an issue, obviously, with trade amongst the states. It came to a point where they're almost competing against one another, raising tariffs, raising taxes on imported goods. There's a lot of economic, almost little economic wars amongst the states. Not good. What's another one? Terrence? No taxation power. How are you going to raise an army, right? How are you going to pay back some of the debts from the Revolutionary War? How are you going to provide public services? you name it, right? Good. Another one. Chase.
State veto powers.
Yeah, state veto power. What was wrong with that?
They couldn't pass a law without like iron out of 13.
Okay, yeah, good job. And if they wanted to try to totally change the Articles of Confederation, they needed everybody on board, which is difficult to do, right? I think I relate it to your family members. Is everybody going to agree on something? No. So yeah, that was very tough. Another issue. Another issue. Jamie, what was another issue? So we said no judicial branch. What about another branch of government that was not included? Executive. Yeah, good job. So no executive, meaning there's no figurehead, right? There's no president, right? And there's no one to kind of lead the country or relate foreign issues with other countries. So that was going to be a big, big problem. Okay. Again, not included just because we didn't want to repeat that, oh, we have an absolute monarch. We don't want to do that. What was another issue? I think we're coming to a close here. Last one, right? Brock? Yeah, no standard currency. Good job. So each state had their own version of currency, made things a lot more difficult than what it needed to be. And inflation rates among states, you had to calculate exactly what the worth of the dollar is of that said state. If you're trading with other states, it was very difficult. A lot of issues. All right, list and describe the influences to the U.S. Constitution. Give examples for each influence. What was one influence? Chase.
Ancient Greece and Rome.
Ancient Greece and Rome. Good job. So direct democracy, representative democracy. Okay, so we took that idea of the republic. Some of the architecture of the buildings, the setup of the three branches of government. So those are all examples that you could have included for that influence. What was another influence? Sarah? England, yeah, good job. And what were some examples that we took from England? Okay, the Magna Carta, right? So that Bill of Rights, giving the rights to the people that the government cannot infringe on or take away, that are above the government. Magna Carta, making sure that the monarch at that time, the central government, isn't too powerful that they can't get away with whatever. Record time.
That was already done.
Huh?
That was done already.
Oh, okay. Just didn't want to come back.
Actually, wanted to do something else.
All right. Good. So what was another influence? Talked about England. We talked about ancient Rome, Greek.
There's the colonial influence with House of Burgesses and
Look at this guy over here. Jeez, I knew he was going to hit it. Nail on the head. Review games. Make sure he's on your team, right? Good. So direct democracy, House of Burgesses, showing that there's a legislative branch, even though it's unicameral, right? Good. What was the last influence? Jamie? Enlightenment thinkers. Good job. And there's a couple you could have named. You could have said about John Locke, Montesquieu, Rousseau, Voltaire, right? And you could have described those individual beliefs. All right, is there any questions on the exam here? We good? Those of you just took it, I will try to get your grade in as soon as possible. Okay. Vocab terms for today. We're starting a new chapter, chapter 3. So this is the Constitution now. We're getting into that. No bell ringer for today. I think you only had one of them. So how about I just add them on to next week? So if we have 5 next week, I'll just count it as 6, right? From the one from this past week. Sound good? Does that work? All right, cool. Terms for today, we got popular sovereignty, limited government, federalism, separation of powers, and checks and balances. So these are going to be the 5 principles to the Constitution. Make sure you know them. Just working on chapter 3 vocab, Bella. Just started. No bell ringer. All right, so let's get to it. Let's get to it. So the vocab terms, the 5 principles that are found in the Constitution. So when the founding fathers were creating the Constitution, they want to make sure that these 5 principles were located in. Okay, number 1, popular sovereignty. Number 2, limited government. 3, federalism. 4, separation of powers. And 5, checks and balances. And these are all ideas that came from the influences, let's say from England, from ancient Rome and Greece, and from colonial heritage, from the last one being the Enlightenment thinkers. Okay, so these 5 principles essential when thinking of the Constitution, and the founding fathers wanted to make sure that they were expressed in this document, the most important piece of paper ever created, most important document ever of mankind, the U.S. Constitution. Nothing ever before seen. All right, you guys good with that? All right, so let's break it down. Popular sovereignty, what does it mean? What does popular sovereignty mean? What does that mean? Sarah, go ahead.
Should decide for themselves who the territories for country union as a figure state.
Okay, good job, good job. So popular sovereignty is just this idea where the people, okay, they're the ones who are designing the government. They're the ones who have a choice of what the government should look like. And that being said, they're going to be doing, they do that through elections. Okay, so through the election process, they choose representatives that reflect their political idea, right? What government should look like. So the people have a choice of what the government is going to be represented towards them. So through elections, people can change or people can keep the same government, what that should look like. So in all reality, and in basic terms, it just means people choose what the government should be, okay? That people rule the country, that these government officials, that these representatives, they are servants of the people. People choose what the government is reflected of their wants and needs, their desires. And that's what popular sovereignty means. We go to that, pretty self-explanatory, right? Limited government. So with limited government, that's the second principle, meaning that the government will act in ways what the people would want. So in certain cases where, let's say the economy is doing well, since in our capitalist economy, okay, mixed market economy, but for the most part, capitalist, if government's going well, if the economy is running well, let's just let the government have a hands-off approach. Let's kind of let them out of decision making and kind of cut their control from really day-to-day life. And in certain need, let's say a pandemic, let's say a depression or a recession, government should step up and be involved a little bit more to help and assist people through these struggles, through these issues. Let's say during a war, that government should step up a little bit more, that people have a say of how government should be involved in their lives. So it's the choice of the people of how, let's say strict, or I won't say strict, but how involved the government should be. Okay. And again, it kind of fluctuates through time, depending on what we're going through, if it's a war, a depression, a recession, or if good times are rolling. Right, let's say if the economy is booming and we're not involved in a war or a depression or a recession or a pandemic, right? That the government can step back and have a hands-off approach. So it's in the choice of the people what type of role the government should be in their lives. Next one, federalism. So next principle is federalism. And what is federalism? What does that mean? What does federalism mean? Jamie, do you know? You looked up here. That's why I was wondering. Because you looked up here. I'm sorry. Everybody else has their head down, their iPad, typing notes, I guess. I don't know. I hope so anyway. Hopefully it's not in their phones. Right, Jeffrey? Or it's not watching cooking videos. Jeffrey, what's federalism?
Federalism is a mixed or compound mode of government that combines a general government with the regional government in a single political system.
All right, good job. So this is like the separation of powers in a way. This is this idea that we'll have a local government, that will have a state government, that will have a national government, and that there's not one, let's say, government body, okay? That even if, let's say, one political party controls the government at the national level, there's still opportunities for another political party, depending on where you're located, that controls the local government, controls the state government, where it just kind of keeps in check that one form of government doesn't become too strong. So federalism, very, very important. And making sure that people's viewpoints are respected depending where they're located. So you can kind of compare this to certain states. Like California is always Democratic, it's always blue. Okay, but not necessarily the national government, right? Some cases, Republicans could hold power at the national level. Pennsylvania is kind of that swing state. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it's blue, depending on the election cycle. But that allows, federalism allows that one political party doesn't become too strong, right? That there's a separation at the state level, okay, and the national level. That power could be different depending on where you're located. So these are some powers. We're going to talk about this in more in detail next chapter of concurrent powers, of reserve powers, and of delegated powers, okay? And how they're shared maybe amongst the state and national level. What powers the national government has compared to the state governments. And we'll get into more detail about that more next chapter. So federalism, main thing to take away is that there is division, that there is a national government and state governments, local governments, making sure that one political party doesn't become too dominant or controlling. Separation of powers. So the three branches of government. I'll go back to that. Like I said, next chapter, I'll talk about that more in detail. I just wanted to present what federalism was. Okay. Separation of powers. We have the legislative, executive, and judicial. Whose idea was that? Which Enlightenment thinker? Tanner? Montesquieu. Good job. Good job. So that one branch of government comes too strong. We'll talk about the articles of the Constitution and how Article 1 is focused on the most important, the most powerful, the legislative branch, where these representatives all come together, these congressmen, House Representatives, the Senate. We talked about the creation of that with the New Jersey plan, Virginia plan, and how the Connecticut plan kind of solved those issues. The executive branch, one of those issues, also weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation. We didn't have a president. We didn't have a figurehead. Okay, I mean, we all know the president has the job of foreign diplomacy. Okay, vetoes laws, signs bills, you name it, and then judicial branch, which is interpreting the law. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail on Monday. And then finally, we have the checks and balances. Okay, I'll talk about this more in detail Monday as well. But real quick, I just want to present it to you so you have the 5 principles. Last one, making sure that one branch of government doesn't become too strong. Right, the checks and balances is making sure that one branch can keep in check the other branches. That another branch doesn't become too, let's say, authoritative, or doesn't become too strong. But I want to note that the legislative branch is that, I wouldn't say dominant branch, but it was presented first in the Constitution that these representatives have the ability to keep the president in line, keep the president in check. Okay, they approve of some of the Supreme Court justices that are chosen by the executive branch. Right, the creation of laws, judicial branch, they interpret it. Right, they interpret it. An executive branch, whatever law is created, executive branch can veto it. Okay, those are some of the checks and balances that I'll talk about more in detail on Monday. So is there any questions on the 5 principles? We good? We have popular sovereignty, we have limited government, we have federalism, okay? We have checks and balances, and we have separation of powers. All right, make sure you remember those. Like I said, I'll talk about checks and balances, separation of powers more on Monday. All right, let's get to the news.